maybe
Yes, but I have one.
talk about what it was like, Earl, that day. Oh, are we ready to go, Joe?
No.
And then, do we want to talk first about the basketball game last night?
That'd be a good one because there's more
Sure.
talk about
There
that in
is.
town than anything.
Yeah.
Well, we got the bowl game to talk about.
That says
Yeah.
no more 8 free throws. He's never heard of it.
All right, here we go. Well, I think
Okay.
we're frozen.
We're gonna fight for Iowa. Let every loyal Iowan.
Around with them.
Hello, welcome to Sports Opinion, the weekly sports talk show on Channel 18. That is Public Access TV. My name is Dirk Keller. This here's Bob Boyd.
Hi, guys.
That there's Bud Supple, and this is Earl the Pearl Murphy.
That's it.
Welcome back to a new show, new week. Before we get going, we wanted to acknowledge that today is the 70th anniversary of the bombing of Pearl Harbor. I wasn't around then, but I know Earl was, and somebody that died at Pearl Harbor. Thought we'd just ask you all to keep everyone that sacrificed everything that day in your thoughts and prayers. And Earl, we wanted to hear a little bit about.
I didn't
That
know.
day.
I knew him very well, but he's a friend of my older sister's, and he was a wonderful guy. His name was Herring. I don't know. I'm losing track of his
Last name is Herring.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Is that H-A?
no, H-E-R-I-N-G.
E-R-I-N-G.
Yeah, that's right. And he got killed. And I knew I just took it for granted. You know, it was. I did take it for granted, but I didn't let it bother me.
It was a Sunday morning when you found out.
Yeah, I
Yes.
said Sunday afternoon. I was at basketball practice at St. Pat's.
And how'd you find out?
Oh, I think I was taking a shower, and somebody said that Pearl Harbor got bombed.
Did you even know what Pearl Harbor
I
was?
didn't. No.
Yep.
Probably a lot of Americans didn't. I would.
No,
think
that
at
was
that
on Good
point-
Morning America.
Yeah, that
And
brought
most
us
of
into the
people
World War
didn't
II.
even realize what it was all about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
70 years. Have all of you been there to Pearl Harbor to see the Arizona Memorial?
Yes.
I've been there 2 or 3 times.
That's pretty solemn.
My wife and I, so many years ago today, we were there for the.
Really?
Oh, okay.
We were there for the affair.
Wow.
It was real, quite gratifying.
You know,
I bet that would be something on an anniversary
Yes.
day.
I guess.
It's. I mean, when you're there at Pearl Harbor and you see the memorial. I mean, it's a sacred place.
And it's
Oh,
still
yeah.
bubbling.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
still bubbling, and I mean, it's just amazing when you. Now that we really know the history.
What I did is learn today on Good Morning America, there's 4
Speak up.
survivors.
Is that right?
That's
and they're,
all?
Yeah, and they're had this meeting all the time, and they're going to abandon it. It's going to be the last meeting they have because there's only 4 left.
On that particular ship.
Yeah.
the
Oh,
Arizona.
from the Arizona. Okay. That
Yeah.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
You know, and
Living survive. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The thing I
Makes-
remember the most was that they, I don't say we use the word in prison, but all the Japanese that were here in this country, they put them in the concentration camps.
That's right.
And really, if you you were a part of it, the Japanese were really mean.
Mm-hmm.
Mean. And we went to war against them.
And it was something that we hadn't, as a society, encountered. Not the bombing, but the horrific treatment of prisoners.
Yes.
And it was just, it was new to the world in large.
But there's an island off of, out of, I want to say San Francisco Bay. It's not out very maybe a couple of miles from shore.
Alcatraz.
No, it's not Alcatraz, but that's Murph. Murph, that's where they built barracks, and they took all the Japanese citizens where they stayed a lot.
At Alcatraz?
No, not Alcatraz.
Oh,
I
this
can't
other
remember.
island.
This other island that's out in the Pacific, just outside of San Francisco, and it was basically a concentration camp. I mean, they weren't treated like war prisoners as such, but that had to be a very difficult time. And some of them were American citizens.
That's
they might
right.
have been second generation.
Oh, yeah.
But they were Japanese, and unfortunately, that's what happened to them.
Oh, you mean they gathered them up? From
Oh, sure. they
Yes.
did. Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Put them in internment
Yeah, that's
camp.
what they call them, internment
Right, yes,
camps.
that's-
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, wow, that's what got us into World War II.
Big time.
And what a tactical, brilliant thing that was, in a sense, the way the Japanese pulled that off.
You know what they did wrong?
Bet they wish they hadn't in the end, but
Well, they could have done more damage. I've read accounts of this.
That
and
was in Pearl Harbor.
at Pearl Harbor,
Yes.
they could have wiped out even more, and they chose not to send a second wave of bombers. They thought they'd done enough damage. They sent the message, and enough. Instead, America was able to rebuild quicker and didn't lose nearly as many lives as they could have that day,
or ships.
or ships, because they didn't wipe everything out.
Yeah.
They did great damage and set us back, but it also inspired the whole country.
Oh, did it ever?
I can remember my parents about it as kids, especially when the anniversary would come up, and how shocked they all were. I think they got home from church and got the word when they got back from church
Yeah.
that Sunday, and how sad they were, and how everybody sat around the radio the rest of the day. And I don't know if it was that same day when FDR came on and called it a day of infamy.
Right.
Why do you think they bombed us? The reason.
I should have done my homework. I've read this.
Bob, do you know?
It was
No.
it
Not
was
that I
it was
recall.
money,
I think it was oil.
right? It was money basically, and essentially we had been warned, but not publicly.
Well, they supposedly told the couriers that were at Washington, D.C. To deliver the message that you have until the following day. And they bombed it.
Yeah. You know, I went out to Hawaii. I've been to Hawaii once with my parents for a family wedding, and we went to the Arizona. And my dad was a World War II, a Marine in World War II. And when we went to the Arizona Memorial, the thing that struck us, besides the fact that, yes, it is really a sacred territory, what really struck me, what I'll always remember, are the number of Asians who were there visiting, touring
Yes.
the memorial,
Yes.
and laughing and talking out loud. It really disgusted us. You would think, given the circumstances, given the place that you're in, you would have a little bit more reverence for not only the people that died, but the people who were there.
Oh, I've got one for you. You know, before you do the tour of the Arizona, they take you into this building, and they kind of a preliminary talk and a little bit of background. As I recall, you're in there for about a half an hour, and I don't know this place. I can't remember how many it held. Not a huge group, but it was full, a couple hundred people, I suppose. And they had a Japanese American giving the presentation, and he was excellent. And at some point, shortly after he started his about, you know, that particular day, there was kind of a disruptive, some disruptive comments in the group. They were making noise and they weren't being respectful. I don't think on purpose, but I want to tell you, he shut them up right now and came right after them and said, you know, this is a sacred place, and if you're going to be in here, I expect you to pay attention and be quiet, and that is going to be, or you're going to have to leave.
Good.
And I mean, he straightened everybody up right there and right now. And the interesting thing to me is he made it quite clear to all of us during that particular speech that he was a Japanese American, and he was very proud of it. And, you know, it was just an interesting concept.
I wish he
you
would have
know.
been there the day that my family
Yeah.
toured, because it was,
He was really good, and he was in charge.
good.
And, you know, so.
You're saying about radio?
Mhm.
There's a guy in Waterloo they had on today. And he was at, what were the guys that were
The
shot?
Sullivan Brothers?
Sullivan Brothers.
Oh, yeah. 5 of them, right?
And this one,
They were on the Juno.
this one
if I
dad
remember right.
that lost his son in this kept that radio and that tape. So they played it this morning.
Oh, wow.
And it was the old time radio, you know how they
Yeah.
were
Yes.
with the knobs on.
Yeah.
Big old wooden radio.
But it was beautiful, and this right in Waterloo this morning.
We had one of those.
Wow.
Yeah, we did too.
I've still got the radio that my mom and her family listened to that broadcast on.
Oh,
I've got it.
seriously?
Yeah,
Wow.
it's got a turntable
Yeah.
in the radio with the knobs.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
Well, how he got the tape, I don't know how he got the tape, but it come right out of that radio.
I'll be darned. That's something.
I'm backing up what Bob said. When we were there, I was amazed how strict and orderly the band was.
It should have been.
Oh, just straight, you know.
It's a humbling place.
Yeah, when
really
I was there,
is,
and
yeah.
I've been
It-
there 3 times because FTD would have their convention. That was one of the things
Yeah.
always on it. But everything was so organized.
You know,
And it was like walking into church. You didn't say anything.
That's a good analogy. It really is.
I'm ashamed to say this, but the Japanese, they're in third place as far as I'm concerned.
That-
Yeah.
You get no argument from me.
No.
They shot my dad.
Yeah. But you know, I got friends that are Japanese now, and no problems. So.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and that's it.
Yeah.
But
My wife's got a master's degree in Japanese
Sure,
language. She's lived
that's
there
right.
twice. She's got lots of Japanese friends, and they're all very nice
Well, I think we
people.
probably all do,
that's
but,
all that.
It was
that
the-
still doesn't give them any rights to do
No.
what they did.
Oh no.
Hey, you know what,
no.
guys? They were pulled into a war just like we were.
That's right.
There's a lot of those citizens, a lot of those people that didn't want that to happen, and it did. And look how they suffered.
Oh, suffered like no other
I was
country
going
Yeah.
to make a
suffered.
comment
You know,
about
so-
that. You know, we dropped those bombs
Oh,
in
boy.
about 5 different cities
Yeah.
and leveled them, and they said we give up.
But you know
Yeah.
what? They didn't quit after the first day of bombing.
No, but that
It took a second
Yeah.
nuclear bomb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they're governed by a different.
The imperial family.
Emperor.
Have you ever seen live?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, right in the corner there. And
I don't know, but I bet they drive a Toyota.
well, we'll quit on that.
You just wonder how all those planes made it here without the noise and everything, without someone recognizing.
Oh, it was a
Well,
brilliant tactical
Yeah, but
attack.
they
I mean,
said they were expecting a delivery of B-7 bombers that were coming from America,
oh,
Okay.
and they said that's what that is, and that was Japanese got there first. and then-
Okay.
then-
but they were
I
flying
see.
so
I
low
wondered
that they
about
never
that.
picked them up on radar.
That's the other thing. They flew low.
They flew so low.
Yeah.
I mean, they were
When they
just
got
above,
close.
above the water.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, it is a day
Interesting.
that has lived in infamy for 70 years, and we haven't forgotten, and I don't think America ever will.
That 9/11, you'll never forget.
No, there's nothing like this
Yeah.
up to that point in time. And,
Yeah, 9/11 is quite different.
Yeah,
It was.
yeah,
But 2 days you'll never forget.
that's
No.
right.
But this here, I'm just grateful
Television makes a difference.
that we carried on and carried on for 70 years. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, I remember it really when I was a kid because the next day was a holy day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Uh,
Bet the churches were full that day.
Yeah.
is
Well,
that
actually,
right?
that happened
But, you
on
know,
a
they were-
Sunday, so
they-
holy day on a Monday.
They were finding Japanese that were living in caves 10, 12 years afterwards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I bet.
You know, oh
Yeah.
boy.
Who refused to surrender.
That's right.
It was just a cult society that brainwashed people.
Yeah.
I mean, kamikazes. Think about that concept
Oh,
for a minute.
Whoa, boy.
Very similar to what you find today with the Taliban and Al Qaeda that
Right.
are willing to blow themselves
Al
up
Qaeda, yeah.
and cause greater misery.
That's right.
It's just a different way of thinking.
How
And,
can you blow yourself up like they do?
Well,
Well, they're gonna have, and there's a heaven,
yeah.
they're not gonna die. They died on this earth. I mean,
Yeah,
but
that's right.
they'll,
I wonder how that worked out for
Well,
them.
I ain't chancing it.
I don't know.
Well, we
I had
had
to rethink it. They might have.
Has anyone heard from any of them?
No, I haven't heard from anyone.
we're laughing, but
Any of them
Yeah, right.
reincarnated? You know.
we'll never know.
Never
That's
know.
right.
We'll never know what got into the referees at last night's Iowa men's basketball game in Cedar Falls
Oh,
against
boy.
UNI. Nice transition there, don't you think?
I think so. Yeah.
That may be a game that lives in infamy for Coach Fran McCaffrey. He got 2 technicals. The team got 4 total, and UNI was able to shoot 8 straight free throws. It was a 2-point game at that point.
Made them all.
Made them all, and they went on a 20-0
there was free throws after
scoring
that
bridge.
too.
Oh yeah, well, and possessions. after
Possession,
that.
and they made the baskets
Oh.
too after they got the possession.
Didn't we make about 10 more field goals than they did?
It had to be close to that because
They had a lot
Yeah.
of threes.
they had
Yeah.
over 20 free throws that they made.
Yeah.
They had 20. They made 20 more free throws than Iowa attempted.
Right, okay, that's
They
the way.
made 20 more. Now think about that.
Well, point I remember. I think this was
So right
about
there would be your 20 points difference.
Yes, that's it.
at the 9-minute mark or shortly thereafter. They had made 10 out of 23 pointers. We were 1 for 10, and then
Joe.
we had made 1 free throw out of 4, and at that point they were 21 out of 25, and that was with what 7 minutes left, something like that.
Go ahead.
So, yeah, we had. I don't know if we had more conventional free. Or
Well, they hit a lot of
goals.
threes. We didn't. Missed almost. Well, how many threes did the Hawkeyes make?
Well, I don't know
One.
what it was
That's
at
what I
the
thought.
end. Yeah,
I
but
think
Not
it was
only threes, the one guy made a 4.
that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah, Mel Sambasabi fouled him in the act of shooting.
they have a picture in the paper, the press.
Oh, jeez.
of McCaffrey.
You know, of,
Oh, McCabe getting fouled.
Yes.
Yeah. Guy's got his arm wrapped in him. No foul. I mean, it
Then
was
they
just
wave
pathetic.
basket.
Yeah.
Called a
Well,
charging.
You
foul
know
on
what's going to
McCabe.
happen here, and I'm just taking a guess at it, in a rumor, I haven't heard. Well, we're all done playing them,
I hope so.
and I hope we don't sign a contract.
I
with
agree.
them, Just
That was
because
my
of
next
this.
question.
Oh, okay. I just-
Yeah.
You
The
know.
contract with UNI is over
Yes.
as of today. And if this is the way,
And we don't benefit by it.
Nope.
They're the ones that make the money off.
and it ain't much, I mean,
No.
it's 6,200 that they fit in there. If that's the way we're going to get treated when we go up there, but that kind of officiating, then there's no need to play them.
Well, I've talked to several referees, and they say, you call a technical on a coach, you back off and get away from it.
Right.
You don't stand there and want to do this again to them. And
Yeah.
they did it just like that.
What really offended me in watching the game last night was when McCaffrey got his second technical. The referee walked off the court, which McCaffrey knew he had to do. So he's walking off and giving that ref one final earful. The ref calls the police over.
Call security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that really, I thought that was really
I did too.
unprofessional.
I
mean,
thought it was too.
what
I never
the-
heard of. I thought maybe it was a new rule.
Well, do you know why we had when McCaffrey got his first one? You know why the second one happened?
Mm-mm.
Because an assistant coach can't leave the bench. Didn't Anthony Francis get up?
Don't know.
That's what I heard from an official today. That
Well, who
that's
did he
why
call it on?
because it was called immediately. Whether he said something to the official.
Well, who did he call it on?
They just
the first
say
one was
the
called on
bench.
McCaffrey.
And you think the
The
second,
second one was called on the bench. Was
Oh,
one of
I
the
don't
assistant
think so,
coaches.
Bob.
No, it was called.
No, they called. No, it was on the bench.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
the assistant coach.
So then he didn't have two
Mhm,
back to
mhm.
back.
Not then, no.
Not at that
No.
point.
There were two then, but
Then
one was
McCabe
on.
got a technical
Yes,
after being called for a foul,
Hmm.
and it was a bogus call.
tomahawked the ball or something.
Yeah, and he smacked the ball, and the ref teed him up, and that's went nuts.
That's when McCaffrey got his second technical to react to the McCabe call.
Okay, so
there we go,
they
Joe.
Again,
weren't back to back. Okay.
Well,
they were pretty close together. I mean.
here's something I bet you guys didn't realize. Okay, the referee that called the technicals, his name is Higgins.
Yes.
He is also a Big Ten ref. He is also a Big 12 ref. And get this,
I'm going to tell you
he's
one thing
worked
about him.
4 Final Fours.
And he was suspended from the Big Ten for 2-3 years.
For incompetency?
Right.
Good.
And they just let him in the last 5 years.
He better not ever show up in Iowa
Oh,
State
he
again.
will.
He's
He'll
ready.
be there.
I don't know about that,
Oh, I
guys.
bet he will. Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, I hope I'm there.
I hope I am too. He
Well, it was a good ball game until all that happened. It was a 2-point game at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And Iowa's coming.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's just too bad. They've got to be very frustrated. Here they are 5-4. I think probably at this time they expect to be 8-1 or 7-2.
They're 5-5, aren't they?
5-4 right now.
5-4,
Okay.
and they go to Iowa State
Friday night.
Friday
Friday
evening.
night, yeah.
That'll
Friday
be real
night
tough.
at Iowa State. That's going to be tough.
But I really like the comments from Gatens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
What'd he
right.
say?
They try to put him in a corner about, what do you think you're a coach?
Mhm.
And he says, I'd rather have a coach that sticks up for us
I
and do
agree.
something about it than leave it go.
Matt's totally right.
Oh, Matt did a good job, I thought, on his interview.
You know what we have, though, guys? We have a team that doesn't have very good shooters.
Yep.
Matt Gatens and Oglesby are our best shooters, and really, we don't have a good shooting team.
No.
And boy, when you're not hitting, when you're shooting in the 30s,
That
it's
kid
tough
from
to beat anybody.
Kennedy's not bad.
That's no, you mean Oglesby?
Oglesby, yeah.
Yeah, Oglesby. The
Well,
other
did you-
kid is
I-
Aaron White. I
yeah.
think he's a good shooter too. But
He'll come on.
he and Oglesby are freshmen.
Well, this
Yes.
kid that led us in scoring the most valuable marble, he did all right.
he had a
last night.
great game.
He had a great
Yeah.
game. But
know-
he's not a great shooter from outside, but he
Oh,
I'll
I
tell you
see.
what, I'd like to see him playing more.
He's going to play more
makes
because
things
Bryce
happen.
Cartwright's hurt. He's got some hamstring issues that apparently flared up in the Brown game, which nobody saw because it wasn't on TV again. And I want to talk about that.
Okay.
Between the Iowa men and the Iowa women basketball teams and the Iowa wrestling team, there's been 2 games on TV combined to this point in the season. Now, that's 9 games for the men. I believe roughly the same for the women, maybe a few more for the women because they started a week earlier. Wrestling has had 2 meets, and the Iowa State match, the meet, was on TV. It was on the Connections channel, which, is not the best quality.
No.
It's not Iowa. It's Iowa State.
No. But, my point is, at this point in the season, here we are, almost mid-December, and nobody's really been able to watch the men's or women's basketball teams or the wrestlers. It's just, the Big Ten Network was supposed to,
That's right.
They solve all this.
Promised us an altogether different thing.
and we're not getting it.
No.
We're getting 11 a.m. start times for football because of it. We're getting
But we had that before.
No, yeah. Well,
I
this year
mean-
set a record for 11 a.m. games
Yeah,
because
true.
every single home game, with the exception of Northwestern.
But the better you are, the more you get on TV.
That's true.
You know,
That's part of the problem.
that there's, they were talking about how Michigan, but they went all over all Michigan's games, but they didn't forget it. They for Iowa because Iowa was a loss. And
Yeah.
and if they had statistics, we beaten Michigan 3 times.
Mhm.
We beaten Michigan 2 out of 3 times.
Michigan State.
2 out of 3 times. Yeah, Michigan State, and Wisconsin, we beat 2 out of 3 times.
2 out of 3.
Yeah, and here's that's
And
6
Penn State, 2 out of 3. Well, heck,
Yeah.
8 out of 3.
Yeah,
And
that's
stay like
Yeah, and we got numbers, and I said, why don't they say
You know.
they
again. It
don't-
goes back to TV sets.
Yeah, well, you
That's
get back
right.
to that
That's
because
right.
you're winning loss.
Yeah.
Well, we had a better winning loss record than Ohio State, and they were on every week.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
It's TV sets,
That's
though.
right.
State of Ohio's got a lot more people than
yeah,
we do.
that's
Yeah.
right.
This year for men's basketball, we had the ACC Challenge against Clemson on TV, and we had to wait till 8:15 for that game to start. And then we had one other game,
Northern Iowa last night.
Northern Iowa last
But
night.
that wasn't on Big Ten.
No,
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 that's
and-
Oh,
now
you're just
7.
talking about Big Ten.
no, I'm not. I'm just talking
But someone
about.
said that was terrible.
It was terrible.
the coverage.
Oh, was it?
It
I
was-
listened to it on the radio.
Someone said it was like your TV 30 years ago.
It was. The quality was not good.
Okay.
But, you know, I don't care what the quality is. I just want to see the Hawks on TV.
Right, I do too.
And guys, we're still not
I
going to
do
get many
too.
games on TV. Not until the Big Ten season starts. Let's
are
see.
you?
Well, that would be what?
The game with Iowa State, the men's game with Iowa State on Friday at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
is on the Cyclone Network. And for the life of me, I can't find out what channel the Cyclone Network will be. It used to be Channel 9.
22.
No. That's not the
That's
Cyclone
where I've watched them on the 22.
in the past.
Yeah.
Well, that may be this. It used to be Channel 9,
What about the women tonight?
not on TV.
I think it's on 109, isn't it?
Oh, wait a minute. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Women Tonight is on TV. It's on Connections Channel 22.
They play at
Okay,
Iowa
fine.
State,
At
right?
Iowa State.
After Iowa
Yeah.
State.
Okay.
The women's game Friday with Western Illinois, not on TV, not on radio, because
Not on radio.
the
They're
men
wrestling.
and the men are playing at the same time
No. Oh,
at
okay.
Iowa State.
Oh,
And the-
okay,
and the
that's
commitment for radio first. So, if you want to find out what's going on with the Iowa women's team, go to the game Friday night. Western Illinois is in town. I do believe it's the last non-conference game of the season. I could be wrong about
Now,
that.
Yeah.
I don't know about this for sure, but the last time this happened, KXAC went and did the men's basketball. WMT, their sister channel, they call it, will do the girls.
There's no.
There's nothing like that.
That's too bad.
And getting back to the Iowa State game, it is on Channel 9.
It is on Channel 9?
Yeah, I heard
Okay.
them advertise today.
Oh, really?
Channel 9, yeah.
Oh, good.
Good.
Good. You know, when I went to the Hawkeye website to find out what channel it's on, all it said was Cyclone Network.
Okay.
And I'm getting kind of tired
But
of
they
that.
did run an ad today.
Well, that's good to know. I looked all over. I mean, seriously, I looked all over and couldn't find an answer.
Okay.
Who's our first big
For women,
men's?
men, I'll tell you here in a minute. This is not the last non-conference game for the women, by the way. The women, after they play Western Illinois on Friday night, will go at Bradley and then entertain Drake and Mississippi Valley State before Northwestern comes to town on December 30th.
Okay.
Okay.
And then the men start Big Ten basketball with Purdue on December 28th at home. Same to the season at home.
Yeah.
With. So we start the season at home with.
Okay. That's the 28th?
That's the 28th,
Okay.
8:30 p.m.
Oh, it's a wonderful time.
8:30 p.m. Thank you, Big Ten Network. Really appreciate that.
But think of
December
that.
28th is a Wednesday night, a work night for most of us, and fortunately for the kids, not a school night.
Just to think about the people at Purdue that are complaining that that game starts for them
At
9:30.
9:30.
Yeah. I
They
mean,
have to
PM.
go to it.
Huh? Yeah, that's
They
right.
don't have to go to
Yeah.
it and travel, you know.
yeah, and I'm at the point where it's just not worth it to stay up that late and get all, because I don't sleep well after I go to those games. I get, you're all charged up.
No,
and
right.
Yeah.
I
Adrenaline's
know what
all
you mean.
pumping, and I just soon watch it at home. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. But the women have had a good run of things. They played defending national champion Texas A&M very well, Jamaica over the Thanksgiving break, and now they've got this big bugaboo of Hilton Coliseum staring them at the face tonight. And if you're watching this show on Wednesday, the game's going on right now on Connections Channel 22. But I didn't realize the women hadn't won there at Hilton since 1989.
Well, I'll tell you what, the men and women don't have real good luck over
No.
that period.
No, and what they said on the radio today is Iowa State, and the last three games in Iowa City, we won by 20 points. And the last three games in Ames, they won by 22 points.
Yeah.
And you know, the teams are not that far apart talent-wise. Isn't that kind of amazing?
Yeah.
They've been that, the scores have been that big.
Iowa State's got a great women's program. They've got a great coach, well respected in Bill Fendley.
Been there a long time.
And that is an environment at Hilton that is not welcoming to visitors.
And I'm sure they're the same way with the mayor.
Sure. Oh, yeah. But they, Iowa State draws more fans for women than most programs in the country.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
impressive.
It's one of the top, I don't know, they've got to be in the top 10
Oh, I think they are.
for fans.
I don't know if UConn and Tennessee must be right at the top.
Wasn't that the way when they had 6 men?
There you
women-
go.
Yep.
I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah.
He's bringing up a good point. You know, over there in Central Iowa at Ames and up in that, they've had girls basketball for men's basketball, and that was when we didn't have girls basketball. And those people, they go to that.
That's right.
They
Those
really go to
six-player,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a season ticket holder for the women too, and I really enjoy their games.
No, I'm not
It's-
saying
I know
that,
what
but
you're saying.
I know why they're
Oh,
getting
yeah.
the people up there, because all those teams that played all those years with. See, there wasn't a school from Iowa City. Now,
Right.
Oxford had one, and Lone Tree,
Small
and
town game.
Tiffin, but we
Yeah.
didn't have any.
Small town game.
Rural
Yeah.
America.
Yep. And it's I guess an
Steamboat Rock.
Iowa folklore.
Oh, they were one of the best ones.
Steamboat Rock.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think the first girl that went pro come out of Steamboat Rock.
Is that right?
Yep.
Not Molly. What was her name?
Well, I don't
Molly
remember the
Gunn?
name. I just remember
Denise
Steamboat
Long.
Rock.
6'4", 6'5".
Yes,
She was
that's
big.
right.
Denise Long.
That's right.
Yeah,
Remember
that
that
sounds.
name?
Yeah.
I remember that name.
Might have been.
Carnivilla was another one. That
Yeah,
was
that's
always
right.
there.
Carnivilla.
Minneapolis.
Yeah.
See, I listened to them all.
Yeah.
Well, thank goodness 6-player basketball went away, though. I mean,
Yeah. You know, coming from Illinois, I never did quite
no,
understand
I
that
mean,
game.
most people didn't.
But you know, I came from Illinois where they didn't have girls basketball anywhere.
Anyway,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
You know, they
See,
didn't have girls
Regina had it
sports
one
anywhere.
year. 1 year.
Right?
Yeah, they started it 1 year and then it went to the 5.
Well, look at the
Yeah.
girls basketball now in this city alone.
Oh, boy.
West High, #1 in the state. City High, right up there.
They got beat last night, didn't they, West?
No.
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 No one's going to be.
Nobody's
They
gonna
won
beat West High.
98 to
Oh, okay.
40 something.
Yeah,
40
they've
something.
got to be the
No one's
favorites
going to
take
touch
it all.
West High, let
Nobody.
me tell you that.
Nobody.
Regina's going to be real strong. They haven't lost.
I went to see Regina play Saturday night, and that Zoe Dutchik
Yeah,
player,
yeah.
she is just a treat to watch. And her, I guess it's her little sister. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I get them confused.
It's her little sister.
But Zoe is so talented and so.
The Lynch. The
Oh.
Lynch girls
Oh yeah.
just as good.
But the Lynch boy
Yes.
on the boys team
Yes, yes.
reminds me a lot of Zoe. Both of them just know what to do when they get the ball in their hands. They know how to go to the hoop and put the ball up and score. Hit free throws.
Yeah.
That is such an important part of the game. And honestly, guys, getting back to the Hawkeyes for a minute,
Yeah.
that is a major
Right.
inconsistency with the Hawkeyes. You watch you and I go up there and make almost every free throw they shot. And Iowa goes up there and makes about half of them. It is a game changer. And I tell my son Paul, when we go to watch any basketball games, watch the form of the free throw shooter at the
That's
line.
right.
This is a very important part of the game. You have to be able to shoot free throws.
I like
Well,
Earl
you take
brought
Matt
up.
Gay
Won
on-
that game on free throws. They didn't have as many field goals as we did.
You take Matt Gatens off the free throw line of that Iowa team, and what do you think that Iowa team shoots?
I bet it's
For
below
free throws.
50%.
Well, it's got to be below 60 if Matt's not.
Is
You
Matt's
take
not there?
Matt's figures out of there, it'd probably scare you to death.
Yeah. I mean, there just isn't a free throw shooter on that team outside of Matt. Now, I shouldn't say it because I haven't seen Oglesby and
Oh,
White
true.
shoot.
Well, Oglesby hasn't played enough, but he'd
Right.
probably be, yeah, that's true.
Well, tell me this, and I had someone ask me about why we have all this great feeling coming into this basketball season. Because is it because the prime time type ball? I think
No,
prime time
no,
ball is
no.
nothing like college ball.
It wasn't because of that. It was because of the number of new players, the high ranking that this group of incoming freshmen had nationally.
Like for who? Which ones?
No, I don't think this group had it.
No,
So
I don't
coming
think
in
Oh
this
this
no,
year-
no, no! Make no mistake. This current group of freshmen had a high national ranking for recruits coming in. They were ranked anywhere from 5th to 15th,
Like
depending on.
who?
You mean White, Oglesby, and
As a group. As a group.
No, next year's group. I think.
Next year, but I didn't
No.
think these had
No.
anything.
They
you gotta,
did.
You got to double check that.
I
because-
know what I'm talking about, and I'll tell you. I'll explain why. Let me explain how.
Well,
Number one, there
well,
were so
here's,
many.
here's
of
what
them.
happened then. The guys that rated that didn't know what they
Yeah.
were talking about.
No,
Because they're, come
They're
on.
not proven right.
Well, now think about it. They're freshmen. Only 2 of them are really getting any kind of meaningful playing
That's
time.
right.
Josh
And they're going to be good
Oglesby.
players.
Boy, White's going to be.
There are 5
excellent.
new kids
Yeah.
on this team. 5 new kids. And that's the reason that they got ranked so high as a group of recruits is because sheer numbers. There were 5 of them. Most schools only have 1, 2, maybe 3.
3, maybe 4 max. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
And these kids, Aaron White
Yep.
from Ohio had a high national ranking.
Going to be a good player.
Oglesby had a good ranking.
Yep, going to be a good player.
Olasani had a good ranking, even though he's very raw and new to the game.
Yeah.
But how long is it going to take him?
Well, it's going to take a year.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
You know, you think it's going to take a year for the kid from Sioux City?
No, I don't.
No, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Good.
I think it's
I
going
don't-
to take
I
him a
don't
year.
think it will.
I don't think we will either.
I'm not
Well,
saying
one
he's going to
thing
have
that
to win
hurt-
play.
One
But-
thing that hurts Iowa big time, and that's what's going to change next year, is we don't have a true 5.
Yeah, a big
We
man.
don't have a big center.
No,
And that changes the whole complexion of things.
Exactly.
He'll make 1 good play and 2 bad plays.
Yeah.
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 So we're going to see that change hopefully with Woodbury next year.
But right at this point, we're worse off this year than we were last year.
And I think that
I
surprises
agree.
everybody, Bud, because I think we all expected with the players coming in, having more depth,
Yeah.
and being players that are here, being under Coach McCaffrey and his staff, for a year plus.
And maybe
They'd be a little more used to the system.
Mm-hmm.
maybe it'll change the 28th of this month. But
When
Maybe.
Purdue comes
Yeah.
to town.
well,
Oh, it'll change. They're going to get better.
They'll
That's
get
right.
better.
They'll get hot.
But that doesn't mean they're going to win any games.
That's right.
They'll get better as players, maybe, but it might not translate to that many wins.
Well, here's something
Hey,
I didn't take into account. I looked at the numbers and the rankings of the recruits,
Mm-hmm.
and like everybody else, I thought this is going to be a better team.
I agree.
But one thing we didn't figure into all this was the loss of Jared Cole, the only senior on last year's team.
Yeah.
He wasn't a true big man, but he was an anchor for this team on the offensive side as well as the defensive side. He could pick up the slack if one of the players made a mistake and let an opponent get through the line of defense, for
And
example.
leadership.
But he was a leader, exactly,
You know, but
in the
some-
locker room. He would not let these guys get down.
Yeah.
Basabi hasn't been very, very good this year.
You know, he had a good start last night,
Yeah.
and he will get better.
Didn't Iowa
Yeah,
have a good
he's
start
played
last
better
night?
the last 2 games.
It was a great start. I was very encouraged by what I saw at the beginning of
Yeah.
that game last night, especially in light of Bryce Cartwright, the point guard,
Yeah.
being out. I thought Devin Marble really stepped it up, and
Yep.
he took advantage of I think the lack of height that you and I had on the players who guarded him. He could take them to the hole, into the paint, and score, or
Right.
make things happen, dump it off.
He can create, as they say.
There you go.
I
And-
try to.
And he's
Talk
got
about
long arms on defense.
Iowa.
Yeah.
Yep.
What time is it?
Oh, okay.
Joe, how we doing?
You have 15, 20 minutes.
15,
Okay.
20.
Okay.
We've talked about Iowa basketball. Get out there and support them. Next week is finals week. So the game at Iowa State Friday night is it for a week.
Mm-hmm.
Same for the women. The game Friday night hosting Western Illinois. That's it for the week.
Mm-hmm.
Same with wrestling. In fact, the wrestling team has their last bowl of the year and won't have another one for an entire month
Wow.
until Oklahoma State comes to town January 8th. The Midlands tournament is in Evanston on December 29th and 30th. So this is your chance to get out and see the wrestlers, to see the women, and to see the men. We've talked about basketball. What we haven't talked about is the big announcement Sunday night that Iowa's football team is returning to the Insight Bowl in Arizona, and they're going to play the Oklahoma Sooners, coached by former Hawkeye Bob Stoops. Same Bob Stoops who was at the Insight Bowl a year ago and was wearing an Iowa Hawkeye shirt as he walked along the field talking to Coach Ferentz and the players.
He's a pistol.
He is a pistol, and he is a diehard Hawkeye.
Oh, yes.
And I would love to know what he thought when he found out he had to play the Hawkeyes
Yeah.
in the bowl game. I bet he didn't like it.
I think he said that rather not play as friends, and he and Kirk are good friends, and I'm sure Kirk feels the same way. But I'll tell you what, I think the fan base is real excited about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
However, I think with the 9-3 record, they should have went to a better bowl myself.
I agree.
Probably,
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
and we were lucky
I
to
don't.
play there.
Let's face it; those guys were number one for 6 weeks.
That's right.
And they got
Yeah,
pounded
yeah.
in the game, didn't they?
They had a major injury
Yeah.
to their key running back, and that really hurt them the last two
And receiver.
losses. And
Receiver,
that's right.
that
Yeah.
receiver.
They've got a
And I'm not
wonderful
saying it wouldn't have
quarterback.
happened this way, but I never dreamt
Jones.
that they would get a. There's 2 teams I didn't think got a fair shake. Is Michigan State.
Oh, too bad.
Well, they didn't get a fair shake.
Well, they're cheaters.
They played well.
Yeah,
they
but I
got
agree with
cheated.
Bud on that.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
think
I think Oklahoma and them didn't get a fair shake on bowl.
I'm with Dirk on Michigan State.
I couldn't care less. I think if they
Well,
went to the toilet bowl, it'd be too good for Michigan State.
Well, I'm not taking. I mean, another one fair shake is Penn State.
Penn State. Agreed.
Those are kids out there.
Yep.
They didn't have anything to do with this guy.
That's right.
But if you're a bowl committee and you're thinking about fannies in the seats and you're thinking about all the advertising and the negative publicity, that they got bumped from the Insight Bowl because they didn't want to deal with them, especially after last year's.
So throw them off to somebody else.
That's what happened.
That's what happened.
That's what happened, Bud. You know, I mean,
It'd been more fair.
It's for the players. I agree with
So
you.
what you're telling me is, regardless where you finish, it's going to be up to the.
That's right.
Yeah,
knew- but
and
we
that's
knew
not
this.
fair.
We knew this.
Well, we
Well, it's
knew
not
that
fair.
because it's happened to us.
We talked about this.
It's happened the other way to
Talked
us
about
too,
this.
where our fans got us into a better bowl.
You should
Yeah.
take that into consideration.
Yeah. Penn State should be playing Oklahoma in the
Probably
Insight Bowl.
somewhere, yeah.
And we probably should be in the Meineke Car Care Bowl in Houston or wherever they play.
Well,
The
or
bowl
the-
committee made
the
that
Gator
choice.
Bowl.
Right.
You got 2 6-6 teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, how silly
You know,
is that?
The Gator Bowl, that's New Year's or the day after New Year's, isn't it?
Well, they all are this year
Right.
because they can't play Sunday.
But it's essentially a New Year's Day game.
Yeah.
January 2nd.
Two
yeah.
6 and 6 teams.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got 2 teams going to the Fight Hunger Bowl in San Francisco that not only are 500 teams, but they don't have any head coaches.
Neither one has a coach. They
You know
fired.
what? UC is not a 500 team.
Oh, that's right. They're
They
6 and
lost.
7.
They lost
Yeah.
they're 6 and 7.
Yeah, they had to get an exemption.
But
Yes.
do you realize that out of 35 bowl games,
Isn't that ridiculous?
there's 9 teams could end up 6 and 7 without a winning record?
Yes.
It's pitiful.
That's what's pitiful about all those bowl games. There is no way that anybody should qualify for a bowl game unless they've won 7 games.
Yeah.
Then if you go and you lose, you still have a winning season at 7 and 6.
But who would ever, the Big Ten, if we stayed like we were, we'd have 10 teams going to the bowls. We got 10 teams going to bowl.
10 teams going to bowl games out
I
of
mean, I
12.
just couldn't believe that.
Yeah. Oh, that's a
Indiana's the
record.
only one.
Minnesota and Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana.
Minnesota and
Indiana.
Indiana
Yeah.
are staying home.
And then the way they did pairings, I was getting scared we were going to be going to Detroit Bowl. We were the last one they picked.
Yeah.
Who's going to Detroit?
Purdue,
Purdue.
Western Michigan.
Yawn.
What?
Well,
Don't
the
knock
Hawkeye
Western
game.
Michigan. They knocked us
That's
out of a
right.
bowl 4 years
Yeah,
ago.
we knocked ourselves out of that bowl.
Well, we did. You're right.
Senior Day. You know.
Yeah.
We haven't had a lot of luck with Senior Day.
No, we
lately.
haven't. We
Gee
should-
whiz.
We should play that away from home.
We did all right against Michigan here.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
Let's face it.
That was the best
Only
game
two-
we played, Murph.
2
It was.
teams that beat them.
Yeah.
Northwestern game was good, and the Michigan game was well played.
Yeah, that's right.
I need to ask you if any of you gone down all these bowls.
Not yet.
Where's Notre Dame? I haven't heard a thing about Notre Dame.
Yeah, they're in a bowl game.
Are
I
they
remember.
okay?
They're 8-4 and they're playing somebody 8-4. I can't remember who though. We'll have to go over that next week.
I
Yeah,
bet Joe
because
Murphy could look up who Notre Dame's playing in a
I
bowl
haven't
game.
heard it. I keep
Nope.
asking people, and nobody seems to know.
Yeah.
Hey, I think Joe Murphy's
I
fully
refuse to
capable.
acknowledge that cheating school even exists.
We're not talking about Michigan State.
He's going back to the 50s.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is.
That's right.
Well, did you see what time the Iowa bowl game starts?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Oh, wonderful.
On a Friday night, December 30th. So there's that.
Well, you'd be up on a Friday night at 9, wouldn't you?
Sure.
At 9, yes, but you know what?
I think we did. I think it's
10
going to be a
o'clock.
wonderful, wonderful game.
Oh,
I think it'll be great.
And
Iowa
we
playing
got
Oklahoma.
two Iowa coaches going at it head to head.
and the Inside Bulls got to feel good about the teams they got. That
Yeah,
it's
the
more
fans.
tickets. Yep.
Yeah, we set a record there last year.
Right.
Iowa did with Missouri.
If I were didn't use a walker, I'd go at that game.
I'd like to go there. Are you going, Bud?
I think.
Oh,
You think?
Are you?
Are you going to drive?
Yeah.
sure.
You're going to drive down there?
Oh, that's not bad.
And then will you go straight from there to Florida?
No, I'll have to come home, pick the
will.
wife up.
She's not going.
She's not.
You go to Arizona, Florida from Arizona, you may not get there till midnight.
You know, we
If you're
should.
driving.
Champs Sports Bowl versus the Florida State Seminoles.
There you go.
Notre Dame versus Florida
December
State
29th.
Criminals.
29. Okay.
Champs.
Champs Sports Bowl. Champs
Where's that at?
is a chain of sporting goods
It's
stores.
in Florida, right?
Yeah, I want to say it's Orlando,
Okay.
but I could be
No,
wrong.
that's wrong.
It's one of those Florida towns.
Yeah, I think maybe it is the one before the.
I don't know.
Well, Iowa landed in a good spot.
They did.
Oh yes.
And what I really like about the whole bowl setup is you can thank ESPN, but they're not running two games together.
No.
They're running them like that Friday. There's 5 games on. We're the last one, and Iowa State's the first
Money,
one.
baby. They want to maximize the sets of
So
eyeballs.
if you
that
really
watch
like
this game.
football, you can sit there from 11 o'clock in the morning till 12 o'clock that night.
Well, some of us have to work on that.
Iowa State, they play in Yankee Stadium.
Oh, brother.
Rutgers.
I don't know what the.
You know, Rutgers is the biggest TV draw on the East Coast.
Yeah.
Is that right?
And we had Bob Bowlesby here one day on the program tell us he thinks they would be a perfect fit for the next Big Ten school. Didn't turn out that way.
No.
But
Now,
it-
what
you never
about
know.
Penn State? Doesn't draw as good as Rutgers?
Rutgers outdraws Penn State and Pittsburgh together. According to a USA deal that was in
I've
USA
never been to
Today
Penn
about
State where it
3 or
hasn't
4
been
weeks
packed.
ago. That's hard to believe, but that,
It is hard to believe.
yeah.
Yeah, that's hard for me to believe it.
I'll be
They had
honest.
they had the whatever those ratings are. They had it in the USA Today.
But if you go to all of them, maybe you're not home watching TV.
Well, you know, you talk about the Oklahoma quarterback. I think his name is Jones. But
Landry Jones?
we don't have.
Yes.
We have a quarterback too,
Yes, we do.
and I think it's going to be a great game.
I
I
do
might
too.
be disappointed, but Bernie White retired at Wisconsin, and Louise and I went up to the retirement, and Bobby Stoops was there. And we sat in a room with Bobby, John Streif, Louise, and myself. And we sat there, and John Streif, you could tell he liked Stoops. And all it was he had a barrage of questions, Stoops, and he just answered every one of them just great, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember one time he came to a breakfast, and he came into the door, and I was already sitting down, and he came over and he kept walking towards me, and he took the chair next to me and sat down, and we had for 5 minutes. I think he introduced Kirk that day. I don't know.
He's a regular guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
This is
he's
a-
a tremendous guy.
And this is the guy who buried his father in his Hawkeye football Rose Bowl jersey.
Yeah, and his father and Bob Cummings were real good friends.
I'll bet. Both of them, Ohio high school,
Yep.
coaching legends, really. Cummings from Massillon,
Massillon.
and Stoops' father from Youngstown.
Yes.
2 tough towns, 2 scrappy,
Yeah.
hard Scrabble towns.
They'd have been about the same age, too. I wonder if they competed against each other.
That's a good question.
I think they did.
Well, Bob Cummings is responsible for getting Bob Stoops here to Iowa.
sure.
Then Hayden took over, and Hayden was responsible for getting Mike and Mark Stoops here. And yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Nick, we'll have to get our bowl picks together because the first bowl game
Yeah.
is December 17th.
It is.
Yeah,
Who is it?
I don't know.
Okay.
I just know it's the 17th, and it probably won't be
Yeah.
a very, exciting game.
We'll have to do it.
Well, what, Army Navy this week?
Is there? I guess that's always, yeah.
That's the last college game.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
this weekend.
That's right. Yeah.
Well, let's plan to do our bowl picks next week, and it won't be long before Bud's out of here.
You going west first, then south.
Yeah. Gee whiz.
I think.
Yeah.
She may change my mind. Otherwise.
Yeah,
If
you
you're
have to
feeling
check
all
with the
right,
War
I'll do it.
Department.
Yeah, I will. I will.
The War Department?
That's what I call the wives. the
Oh,
War
okay, the
Department.
War Department. I like that. I think my wife would
No,
like
she.
that.
If I want to go, she'd never stop me.
Yeah.
But maybe your health will.
Yeah, or our timing. That's a lot of travel days because I want to come back right
Why don't you
after.
fly?
You got a banker I could go to?
My wife would just say, "Good luck getting there."
Yeah,
You
right.
know, if she didn't want me to go.
But that's something I was surprised at. It's cheaper to go to this bowl game than it was a year ago.
Really?
That's on Hawkeye
The
Red carpet?
yeah,
red carpet.
Yeah.
That was on the
Lime
news the
runner
other
red
day.
carpet.
yeah. Well, maybe rates are lower this year. I don't know.
And you'll get better getting from over here.
Yeah, that's what
This year, yeah.
But I couldn't believe $25 seats though.
Isn't that something? I thought that
Just
was
could not
rather.
believe that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's up.
That's the cheapest
Yeah.
seats, but then
Well,
I think the most expensive were $60 or $70.
Yeah.
And that's our most expensive ticket.
That's
And what's this
bad,
stadium
yeah.
holds? There was 54,000 there last year.
Were you there last year?
No,
Oh,
but I read it in the
I'm thinking
paper.
it holds like upper
65?
60s or 65 or 6, something like that, I think.
Now I went to the other one at Air State, and that held 65.
Oh, okay. Maybe I'm messed up.
No, but I
No, I
thought
think
maybe
you
they
are.
do about the same.
no, I think you're right. Yeah.
But we'll have, Oklahoma and Iowa both have a good following, I think, for
And,
that.
and you give Norm Parker, the defensive coordinator, 3 weeks to prepare for any team, and he's going to have the Hawks ready.
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah. We'll be a little healthier, and
Well, it's like last year. We played the number 12 team. Beat
right.
them. Sure, we have to play the number 19th. So
and
why
nobody
can't-
gave us a chance against Missouri
No,
last year.
no, I'm waiting for those
I
people to come out of the
still
closet.
see that guy catch that ball and run it back for the touchdown. Well, if they were stupid that they were passing.
Who was that intercepted and then handed it off against Missouri?
Tyler Sash?
Was it Tyler?
Wasn't it?
He received it. Didn't he receive the handoff,
And
or did he intercept it and hand it off to?
I think that guy just ran it all the way.
Oh, okay, I thought they
Yeah.
handed it off. Maybe I'm confusing that with the Michigan State game
Yeah,
last
the-
year.
Yeah.
Regardless, it was a game-changing play, and it propelled them.
Down in the books.
Yeah.
Well, I
I took
hope
care
we're
of that
healthy.
one they canceled on us.
What's going to, are we going to have a second team tailback there?
Somebody will be back there.
We don't
know
about the
yet
suspension,
about.
maybe?
What's happening there?
Kale McCall or?
Yeah,
Yeah, McHale was critical of not playing.
I
more.
know. It was,
And
but
they haven't.
But he's
he's
still
still
suspended.
suspended.
Okay.
I mean, that could change tomorrow.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. We'll see,
How
I
long
guess.
was he suspended
There
for?
was no. It was undetermined. So no.
It'd be nice to have him back.
Yes, it would. It really would.
Well, he did fumble.
Yep.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
He thought he was going to play more, and he didn't, and he was
And
critical.
Kirk didn't hold that against him, but
no, I don't think it's for what he put on that
I wouldn't.
Facebook or whatever
Yeah.
you call it there.
Yeah.
He didn't put it on, he gave it to somebody else.
No, he tweeted. He went on Twitter. And,
Well, I don't know what that stuff's about. Well, I'm glad I don't know
Twitter.
about that. I'd really be in
Jeez.
I'd be in deep trouble with that thing.
well, Twitter is just another form of email communication, if you would.
of gossip.
Yeah, where you
right,
just
that's
talk about whatever.
Yeah, because you don't have to sign your name, do you?
Oh yeah, you.
Well, I heard you didn't even have to sign your name.
Well,
Well, yeah.
you do and you don't.
No, in one way or the other.
Well, they create names, but it has to be somewhat familiar so friends that you want to communicate with know it's you.
So it could be a
So-
nickname.
Yeah, it might be McHale number 12 or something.
Yeah.
How many household computers is there in the United States?
I have no idea. Good question, because you have desktop computers, you have laptop computers. My phone is basically a computer. I was trying to look up the
I'll give you an example.
Uh-huh.
Take a family of 4, and I bet they have 5, counting everything.
You know, we've got, counting laptops, we've got 3, but then we've got notepads and
Oh, I got notepads.
Phones
That's all I use.
You
Yeah.
get in trouble with it?
Used to probably call a
all the
legal
time.
pad, didn't it?
all the time. It's
Eraser.
maddening.
It's, yeah,
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to fix it yourself, which I don't,
yeah.
it'll make you crazy.
Yeah. See, I don't have to mess with any of that.
Then
You
they
don't have to
drop them.
Do you? You don't either, do you, Murph?
Then the glass breaks. I don't know the first thing about it.
Yeah.
No, the older you are, the harder it is, because you haven't had it as a part of your life for as long as, my kids. That's all they've known.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's right. The grandkids, they're all. Oh, it's
Go out.
amazing how they're just
Go outside and
technically
play.
so smart.
Oh, just on that all the
Yeah,
time.
they're
Yeah.
going to get on the computer and play a video.
And you know these kids are getting smart
Mm.
by that because instead of studying or doing homework or reading, they do it on that
Yeah.
computer.
They're also getting fat.
I was gonna say, also,
Look at kids today.
oh boy.
They don't go out and play pickup games. They don't play kick the can at night, hide and seek, and
Boy,
they don't
that's
run
how
the
we grew up.
neighborhoods. Oh,
Catch
God.
lightning
and we
bugs.
Never came in
and we
until it was after
lived
dark.
for it.
Oh yeah.
We couldn't wait till dark so we
Sandlot
could
ball
play
all
hide
the
and
time.
seek.
Well,
or
or
kick the can.
catch lightning bugs. I used to catch
Oh, yeah.
right.
Yeah, but
Yeah. In the
that
the glass
lasted.
jar, right? With
Yeah,
the hose
yeah,
in the
right,
top.
that-
The thrill of that lasted about 5 minutes.
They're getting fat.
Yeah, kick the can and
Yeah.
hide and seek. We just lived for that, and then dreaded the call to come in and take a bath. And if you had siblings, you had to take turns. So
Yeah.
it
In
might
the
be
same
your
water.
night.
I had 4
yeah.
boys that we had.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. You had a line by the bathroom, didn't you, Bud?
Your son's Ted is a referee. What do you think about the game last night?
Well, first of all, someone called him, and I was proud of his answer. He was refereeing, so he said, I didn't see it, so I don't really make comments. Call me after
Yeah.
I see the replay. But he said, one thing he did say is that most referees don't call back-to-back.
Okay.
They walk away from it. I don't care how much that coach is hollering, you just walk away from it. You're in enough trouble the way it is.
and why stick 2 technicals back to back on
Yeah.
the coach and the player
Yeah.
like they did? That's just overkill.
I,
Well, I
changes
think
the
the
game.
I
officials
say
lost
drop
it
them
too.
Don't even play
Right,
them.
that's right.
Don't play.
That's
Agreed.
right.
Don't play them.
Yeah.
That's it. If that's the way that we're going
Oh,
to.
I say it too. It's not worth it.
But you know we will.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
about that.
You know what was
Huh?
disappointing, Bob, to me?
What?
The place only holds 65,000, 67.
6,500.
That's what, yeah,
Yeah.
that ain't very many people.
I'm disappointed we're playing them in football next year. What do we have to gain from that?
Well, I to continue too, because here's the other side of that theory. If you're going to pay another team
That's true.
$1 million or $1.2 million, wouldn't you rather be paying it to Northern Iowa instead of
They're not getting $1 million.
Louisiana Tech
They're only getting.
or Arkansas?
Oh, they're getting
They're
so
getting like
much.
Whatever.
300 or something because there's no travel expense involved like
Okay.
there would be for a team that has to come from out of state.
You sure they're getting that little?
It's not anything close to $1 million. I saw the figure and it's been a
Okay.
while, but it's not anything
At
close.
the time it was 385
Okay.
85
well,
or
then
something.
that's
But
That's
tell
what
me
we should be
this,
paying all
now
of them.
next year we're playing 2.
Mhm.
See,
Yeah.
this is what I don't like.
Yeah.
I'd stick to the one team you're playing.
Well,
One
that will
Division One
change.
AA
Yeah,
or
yeah.
FCS.
Now why we're playing 2, I don't know.
2014. We're going to a 9-game Big Ten schedule.
Yeah.
And so that's going to eliminate one of those patsies.
And I hate to say this,
Northern
guys,
Iowa
but
isn't a patsy, but some of those teams are.
we're out of time.
Okay.
Again, as usual. We got to wrap this show up. We appreciate you watching every Wednesday night on Channel 18 at 7 p.m. And every Sunday night we do the replays at 6 p.m. It's a big week of Hawkeye sports, and on behalf of Bob and Bud and Earl, I thank you for watching. And remember this, through thick and thin, wins and losses, either you're a Hawk or you're not. Go Hawks. That's it.
Amen.